today's shenanigans, we are replacing the drive shaft on this 2007 Suburban. The bolts, I already started there without you, so I got ahead of you. These are 11 millimeter bolt heads. So thank you, GM, for being different. You know, you could have done 10, you could have done 13, but no. Anyways, I got you licked anyways after 2 or 3 trips under the truck and back. And so this drive shaft has been vibrating like crazy all the way from Swim, 5,000 miles all over the country. We're limited to about 65 miles an hour because the vibration gets really heavy. Boy, feels like a drive shaft. So I got a new rebuilt drive shaft unit here. I say new, I don't know if it's new or rebuilt, but it's got all new U-joints in it. It's bell balanced, everything else. So it has a sticker with a flag on it, so it must be good, right? So we're hoping that this works out for us. And I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, so I've popped the drive shaft out. It's just 4 bolts is all, and then just displace it and slide it back because the front slides right into the transmission. Here's the U-joint. It has a little bit of a hitch, but certainly no play or looseness, and the side cups feel fine. So I don't know what's going on with this thing, but we'll replace it. It looks close to the other one. I'm going to pop out and compare before I untape and unwrap this. This is my second drive shaft. First one I ordered, they sent one for 2-wheel drive, which is about 2 feet longer for some reason. So transfer case actually, but we'll check it out and we'll see if it matches. Okay, so here's something a little bit weird. We have a pretty heavy wear mark on the yoke here. So I don't know what that's all about. It's only on one side, but that certainly could cause a problem, I would think. There's a little bit of dirt there on that one, but no hitching. But that's weird. Yeah, it's actually, I can see it's worn right in. So it could be a problem with the bushing in the tail shaft or something, but that alone might cause a problem. I don't know if this is the right drive shaft or not. Let's pull it out and see. It's because I had partly done it. Well, it might be the same. Let's have a look here, fella. Compare for length here. Well, that looks pretty close to me, bud. So I think it's worth stabbing in there. But yeah, that's what on earth? Maybe, I hope we don't have a transfer case problem that's disguising itself as a drive shaft problem. So one of the tricks of this is, and that is a pretty heavy groove there. I've got to put a little bit of lube on both the internal and outside so that it'll slide in and not eat up my seal. According to past maintenance record, they rebuilt the transfer case. Maybe they had an issue and they didn't replace the drive shaft and thought it might be okay. I don't know. But yeah, that's the only thing that I've seen so far. But that's a significant thing, so we'll see. Hopefully this fixes it. Okay, back at it. Underneath, this is how I always do things, kind of backwards and messed up. Okay, so there's, oof, not quick tall enough. There we go. So there may be a clock on this. In other words, a specific position that this goes into. I noticed a little notch in the female spline of the drive shaft where it slides in there. So we'll see how this works. I really wish I could show you guys what I'm doing. If I had good equipment, I could do it. I got no stand, but basically just slide that yoke into the transmission there, and now we'll head back and try to bolt up the rear yoke there, the rear U-joint up in there. Try to keep things out of dirt best I can. So I have a nice garage, but it's always filled with junk. Sorry, I know it's me. I'm a slob and I can't fix myself, but that's how it works. Lessons on Loctite. So this is a drive shaft, fairly critical component. You don't want the bolts coming loose. So there's several kinds of Loctite, but there's 2 basic ones that are most common, and they're referred to by color as blue and red. There's a red, which is a permanent, because we may have to work on this sometime in the future. We don't want to use that. Red can be loosened if you heat it up with a torch, but we have seals and things in the area. So then there's blue, and this is blue, even though it comes in red container. And what you have is there's 2 basic kinds of blue there's a whole bunch of kinds, but the ones that are most commonly used is 242 and 243. 243 is a good version of Loctite, but it's not oil resistant. This 243 is oil resistant, and because we're working in slightly oily environments, I like to use 243 whenever possible. If you're not working around oily stuff, the 242 works just fine. 243 is the oil resistant Loctite, and that's what we're going to use today. Just a little drop on the threads is all that you need. Let's see if I can try to, with one arm, get the dirt off. There we go. We got our bolt, and it really only takes a drop on the threads. You don't have to gob it. You're not gacking it. Just a little drop like that. Oops, I'll put one more to the end though, even though I put two on. Made it lie out of me, but just one is all that you need, because as the threads go in, they will fill in, or that will smear all over and get you to where you need to be. So I left one up in there to help retain it. So I'll have to take the other one out once I get this one in, and then we'll do the other ones, get them all in. So if I was good in one of the work practices that I've learned in my turbine world anyways, is whenever you torque something, there's a couple different things that you do. You can put like a single mark for in, and a double mark for in and torqued. So it's a good way of doing things. You can mark that they're Loctited and mark that they're done. So that, say you're doing a whole bunch, if you mark them as Loctited with a marker and maybe a different color pen or a notch, you can mark that they have Loctite on them and that they're torqued, so they should have two marks. Because I've only got 4 bolts here and I don't have any of those paint pens or anything, I'm not doing that. But you do also have a limited time frame, because that Loctite will harden. So I'm gonna try to get after this and get these down and locked before the Loctite hardens. So I've got to pull that other one out, and then I've got the other sides, both of them are out already. So we'll see what we can do about that. I don't know if this is going to work or not. Getting a slightly obscure view here. Let's see. It's 11 millimeter, which is annoying. Thank you, GM, for generally being irritating like that. Putting an 11 millimeter bolt. As far as I can tell, not many other people use 11s. Okay. Yeah, I can hear my redneck neighbors. The one thing I noted, we came back from the Philippines, and there's a lot less animal noise and stuff like that, like no barking dogs, and we don't have the music, but we do have our redneck neighbors to remind us that, keep us from being too arrogant. So they're actually decent people. I call them redneck neighbors, but every time I've asked them for help, they've been there for me. So I probably should be a little bit nicer or whatever, unless you look fondly. To me, the term redneck just means sort of down home. For other people, it has a different connotation to it. But yeah, they're good folks and they're helpful, but they like to shoot a lot, which I like to shoot sometimes, so I tolerate them. And they do a lot of engine, revving up engines and stuff, and getting drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning, and mud running, and they do engine blows over there. It gets a little bit noisy sometimes, but you know what? I'll trade a noisy neighbor all day long for one that's like up in your business, right? Oh, you got to be clean. You have to do this. You got to do that, right? It's kind of like the HOA thing, and I've had arguments with a couple good friends about this, and I understand their point too. People like to be clean and nice and everything, but I'm a big time stickler for minding your business, right? And you do you and I'll do me, and we each have our own property, and you can do what you want on your property and I can do what I want on mine. But I also know there's things like real estate value, and people like to live in a nice neighborhood and all that. I just for this, I've got enough acreage so that people don't see me, so I figure it's a little bit different situation than a lot of other people have. But I think that if I lived in an exposed place, and actually I've already proven that people will complain about me, because I do have quite a few old cars, and I've part of the, call it old car hobby, it could be addiction depending on who you're talking to, but so I like the idea of people just you do you and I can do me. So, boy, that's not the greatest. I'm going to show you a clip on this that I'm not too impressed with for, you know, that right there, that's a clip in there. And it looks like it's fully down there, but I don't like the fact that it sticks up a little bit. I don't know if you can see it on the side view. They usually should be pressed down. So what I'll do before I finish, I'll put on these bolts because I got them all Loctited. I'll cinch them down. Is I'm going to try to see if I can, because that'll catch dirt and stuff under there. This thing's swinging around, so we'll try to tap those in there and see what we can do about that. So, I don't know if you can see any of my work or you're just going to see my beautiful face, but you know, it's one of those things that the cameras and the YouTubes brings people together, I think, in a sort of a strange way if you do it right. I've always wanted to you know, hang out with people and to work together, but you know, sometimes it doesn't work out. So I can kind of bring you guys, anybody who might be watching this, you know, together here. And it's easy because there's no one to refute or argue with me. You guys can do that maybe in comments or something later, but for me, it's just kind of a relaxing, enjoyable thing to do. And I get a tremendous sense of accomplishment when I get a job done. Now, one of the things, the risk is here, like on this one today, we've had this vibration problem, according to the maintenance records, for 50,000 miles. Long time. I think this thing has about 190,000 miles on it now. It's first reported around 140,000. So, and all that anyone ever did in the maintenance records, it says inspected drive shaft. Now, 9 times out of 10, when you have a drive shaft vibration, it's a U-joint. So when they say inspected drive shaft, that's kind of lip service for, we looked at the U-joints and they seemed okay. And they didn't really inspect the drive shaft. So like what I've done here today is I cheated because I just got a whole rebuilt drive shaft because I saw those maintenance records and I saw things rather than just go after a U-joint. But one of the things I saw on the maintenance list, which is really good, I think it was through Carfax or Carfox or whatever the heck they call that. Anyways, they had really good service records on this because this is a fleet vehicle. Is that they'd rebuilt the transfer case, which is a clue, and because they kept inspecting the drive shaft and passing it, made me think that the U-joints weren't really that bad. And that maybe, because this thing did have a minor collision, they said it got hit in the rear, and it certainly wasn't totaled or anything like that. They said it was hit while parked, so I haven't really seen damage on it, but there's a pretty good chance that, you know, maybe it got bent somehow or something. That's at least my thinking, you know what I mean? I get desperate to try to think of things. And, I'm putting this at exactly Jake foot-pounds of torque here, which is, I guess, what you might call millwright tight, which is naughty, right? I'm supposed to use a torque wrench and all that stuff, but, you know, I don't know. Once I got to go up and put it in park, and that'll stop this drive shaft from turning, and then I can do a final, what I call torque on it. So, there you go. You got about an hour or two. I mean, that Loctite does set up, but it doesn't set up right away. It has like, I don't know, I think they said final setup time is like 6 or 8 hours. But I did notice, like, within an hour it starts getting sticky. So I like to do them more or less as soon as I can. So hopefully that's going to run better. I'm going to go up and put it in park. Another interesting thing. So I went up, rather than putting it in park like I said I was going to, I just put on the emergency brake, and I can see how well this e-brake works on this. And I'll show you how well the e-brake works. I'm saying that parking brake isn't doing a darn thing. So maybe that's worth investigating sooner or later, because there's zero function on that. It could just be an adjustment. I noticed the pedal went right down to the floor. So e-brake's not working. Add that to it. So now I've put it in park, knowing the emergency brake doesn't work. Got my 11mm wrench. I'm really just, see, there we go. Just a little extra on it. You get a feel for it. I've been using torque wrenches for a long time. I'm going a little bit tighter than I should, but, you know, it's got 190,000 miles on it. There we go. Come on now. Oops. And whoop, come on now, fella, behave yourself. There. Okay, so what else did I say? I got my hammer over here. Hammer's good for a lot of stuff. I don't know if I'll do anything with this or not, but just gonna knock those. Yeah, there you go. Just gonna knock those pins flat. I gotta flip it over, so I gotta go up and take it out of park so I can turn it over and knock the other one down. Okay, so I got that. Also, I just turned it over. I got that both sides kind of knocked down, locked tighted. Let's jump out from under here and take it for a test drive. While I'm at it, I want to pay tribute. Anna made me this black mat, and it's pretty thin. It's vinyl. She sewed it up over things, and I call this probably my most used tool. It keeps you out of the dirt, but doesn't raise you up, because I work on a lot of dirt, and this mat folds right up in this nice little thing that's not too hard. It's not doesn't raise you up, so you're not taking away clearance, but provides a little bit of padding. It's oil proof. It's not fireproof. You can see over the years I've done, whether it be welding or different things, hot things have dropped onto it. So it's got some damage on it, but this thing has been on every car that I ever work on. If I go underneath, I have this thing. It's slippery. You slide right in and out. Slicker than snot. I've never seen anybody have one. Anna made this for me, and this kind of gave me a surprise about 10 years ago. It still brings a tear to my eye that somebody would care that much about me and make me something special. So, tribute to the mat. All right, I've joined back in our test drive. And we will see how it goes here. East Ridge Road is now very trafficy, by the way. This whole place has kind of been Connecticut-fied or whatever. So it used to be nice and like there would never be anybody here, and now it's pretty much continuous traffic. So you have to be careful. But let's see if I can indicate here. Speed. We'll see if we can get speed, and we got another car coming. I don't like to go very fast as I need to go to test it while there's cars coming. There's just always cars coming. You used to be able to walk on this road and wouldn't see a car for 2 or 3 hours. Now it's like you got to wait to pull out, you got to wait to get into your driveway. It's just a big pain. So okay, so the problem before was vibration at around 65. It started to pick up and would get bad around 70. Okay, there's 70. There's 75. Need to behave myself here. Let's see. But I can hear a little bit of a root vibration or feel it, very, very subtle, but it's nothing that would stop you from driving at speed. So I would say that drive shaft was definitely adding to the problem, and whatever vibration there is so slight that if I didn't know that we had problems and I wasn't looking for it, you might not see it. So I would say that we've solved that issue, and I'm guessing it's probably something to do with that front yoke, or that front yoke wear was because the drive shaft was vibrating. Maybe somebody replaced one of the U-joints and got one off center or something, but it's definitely a serious problem with vibration that we now have. I'm going to say is fixed anyways, so any old vehicle has some vibrations, and like I said, I can still feel a root, and maybe in another 120,000 miles we'll have this problem again. So whatever the source might be, if it was bent drive shaft, it's fixed, and if it's something else, then we'll just run it till it happens. But right now we can drive pretty much any speed we want to, and it's not shaking and it's not rattling your teeth out, so I call it fixed. So very happy.